Now, one thing that our Tata Madiba left us with is the fact that education is key to building this country, and it is up to us to further ourselves to the highest point possible. Now, this morning we are talking about MBAs and what that entails, and also how you can spread your wings internationally. Joining us is Professor Jochen Runde, Professor of Economics and Organisation, and also former Director of the MBA at the Cambridge University. Professor, good morning and welcome to Expresso. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, great. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. We're talking about MBAs this morning. I think an MBA is something that a lot of business minds out there aspire to achieve one day. What exactly does an MBA entail?
Well, it's usually for people who have been in business for a while and have still concentrated in their silos. And it's more about broadening out and getting exposure to stuff that they haven't done before as they move up the managerial ladder.
Yeah. In terms of South Africa, how accessible is an MBA to us, whether or not we want to study it locally or we want to maybe do it abroad with an international institution?
Well, there's some very good schools in this country. But if students want to go abroad, the two obvious destinations are Europe and the States. But they are very different things. In America, Northern America, it's usually a 2-year program, and it's for people who are about 26 years old. The model in Europe is very different. It's usually a 1-year program, and the average age tends to be about 30. So they tend to be much more experienced people. But
I think the fact remains is whether or not you do it locally or internationally, it is a very big commitment because you are still studying throughout your working environment, right?
That's correct. Well, of course, the very big difference is the cost.
Yeah.
It's way more expensive to go to Europe or to the States, even more expensive in the States. So it's a question of trade-offs. I guess the most important reason, or most important argument for going overseas is the much greater exposure you get to the rest of the world.
We spoke about the accessibility of doing an MBA for South Africans, focusing on internationally specifically. How accessible is that market to us down here in the Southern Hemisphere?
There, as in many things in life, there's a pecking order, and then there are the elite schools, and then you go down the list, and obviously it's much more difficult to get into the elite schools.
Yeah.
So in a university like Cambridge University, so this is Judge Business School at Cambridge, we look at the whole person, but typically there are people who have a good undergraduate and graduate record. Really, if you're looking to come to a top business school, you should be aiming for more than 700 on the GMAT. And then we look also very carefully at the experience that the candidates have had up to that point and the rate of progression as they go through their companies. And then also, very importantly, at the narrative that they provide about how the MBA is going to fit in with their career plans and what they see themselves doing.
Okay, Jochen, so you are down here in South Africa, obviously educating people about the MBA and also when it comes to studying about Cambridge. What is your message for those actually wanting to maybe spread their wings internationally, studying at a top university or top institution like Cambridge?
Well, as you say, I am down here, and it's really for 2 reasons. One is I'm a great advocate of Cambridge and highly committed to the university and the business school, which is a new one. And business schools are really in the interests of attracting the very best students. That's what the game is about. At the same time, I'm very committed to South Africa, and I feel very good when I come back, as I did this week, and see our alums, so South Africans who've come to Cambridge to study, doing the most remarkable things in this country. So it's a win-win for both. Yeah. So that's really what I'm about here.
Perfect. Your parting words with us this morning for those. So what would your message of success be for those approaching an MBA?
Yeah. I guess the message is always try to bite off more than you can chew.
Well, Professor, it is no secret that South Africans are really hard-working people. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That's Professor Jochen Runde. He's the Professor of Economics and Organisation and the former Director of the MBA, Cambridge University. And if this is something that really interests you, just go check out our website, expressoshow.com. We'll put all the info right there for you.